Yes, guys, welcome along to Aston Villa from the stands. We're live for the Turn of Club Football, and today we're doing something a little bit different, a little bit special on the channel. We are going to be ranking every Aston Villa player this season so far, and this is going to be an interesting one. We're not going to hold back. We're going to give our honest take and reflections of where I think the current Villa players are at and how they've performed, and of course, it'll be very interesting as well to hear you guys and your opinion on that as well. So big up to everyone. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and lock in for this because we are ready to rock and roll. I'm looking forward to this one. Hope you guys are as well. And without further ado, we are going to go through a very easy system. It's going to be the tier maker. We've got a tier maker design. There's going to be 5 levels to this tier. And within this tier system, we're going to rank each Villa player. Now, of course, people might say it's a bit early to do this. Why are you doing this now? Well, let's be honest. The international break has basically bored the life out of me. We've seen England do the business as expected and as they should do always. But I'm just now really excited for the next stage of club football that's coming up. I'm very excited to see Aston Villa hopefully go on and put a really convincing performance and run of games towards now and Christmas. And so I want to look at the current players, and it'll be really interesting to do this again in the next international break, to see if there's any improvements, to see if anyone has ranked up or down the tier system. So big up to everyone. Make sure you say hello. Make sure you smash a like as well. Let me know who's in and watching. Always appreciate it. And let's just basically add this to the stage then. So this is what we are repping today. We are using this old tier maker. Now, hopefully you can see it really clearly and really well. But basically, there is 1 best player, 2 impressed me. I've got it. I don't know why that's all of a sudden switched, actually, because it should be 3 doing okay, 4 showing me more, and 5 not good enough. I'm just going to edit that for some reason. These 2 have swapped. There we go. So we've got the tier system all lined up here, and should be nice and easy. Should be nice and easy to follow. And as we go through this today, you'll be able to decide which tier, which ranking you think each player will go in. And it's as simple as that, chat. It's as simple as that. So, yeah, do lock in and load, as I said. And make sure you've got your notification bell on. And do say hello if you are in here today. So, without further ado, let's get started. We're going to sort of work through each position. We're going to go through the goalkeeper, through the defence, and into the attack. And look, when I say we're going to go through the goalkeeper, I am not going to rank players such as your Robin Olsons, your Joe Gauchis, who literally have not featured enough for me to warrant it. I'm looking at sort of 11 Premier League games. I'm looking at players who have played, a very considerable amount of minutes. Debatable whether we talk on 1 or 2 who've just come back in the side, but I think it's fair to say this is the best way to go. So, first of all, Emi Martinez will be our first player that we're going to rank. I'm going to drag Emi up here now so you can all see him. And as I said, this is one of those players for me that I think is no brainer that he's going to be in our top tier. Now, I've just placed him as there as I moved up. Emi Martinez for me is in one of these top 2 categories. And if I'm being honest, if I look at how we've performed across the year, yes, we've conceded a lot of goals. Yes, 1 game in particular, Ipswich Town, for Emi Martinez was a little bit at fault, but I think Emi Martinez has made some outstanding saves across all competitions this season. I've got to admit, I think Emi Martinez has been one of our best players again, consistently being that sort of brick wall, that hard man to beat, the man who basically shot stopping after shot stopping, commanding the presence. And I think we really do see a difference when Emi Martinez isn't in goal, when we've seen Joe Gauch come in the cups, etc. So for me, Emi Martinez debut, it's a no-brainer. I think he's been our best player, one of our best players by country mile. I think impress me would be another fair shout. But when I really think about this Villa squad, I'm thinking of big moments, big saves. Debut has made them. And I want to know if you agree. Does Emi Martinez go in that number 1 slot for you? Is he the best player or one of the best players? Or would you put him a little bit lower? Let me know who's in the chat today. A little bit quiet in the chat. Big up to my mum and dad. Big up to Casey Miller. Farmy's in the house as well. So Luca Dean better be way up there, Josh, man. Absolutely. And as I put in the sort of pinned comment here. Any donation or super chat will supersede my vote and will be changed straight away if you disagree on anything I've said today. But yeah, absolutely. This is an interesting one. And obviously, when Dad's talking about the Crystal Palace game, it is a big game at the weekend to get back to winning ways. But yeah, let me know. Emi Martinez, has he been one of our best players this season? Let me know if you agree. And if you're watching on replay as well, then of course, do let me know. But I think that was a really easy one to start with. And I actually think that, it's quite nice to get off to an easy start and on the debatable one. So yeah, lock in low. Let me know what you think. And yeah, do you agree in the chat? Let me know. Let me know. So next one then. Again, each time I'm just going to drag the player to the third slot. Matty Cash. Okay. Now, I think Cash is a really interesting one to sort of build on here. Where and what are we going to do with Matt Cash? What are we going to do with Matty Cash? Because I actually think that he is going to be in the lower echelons of where we are in this rankings. I think doing okay for Matty Cash, the levels is okay. But I think we have seen as well that right back is a bit of a problem. I think right back's an issue. I think right back's a problem. And I think we're struggling. And I think Matty Cash going in at number 3, doing okay, is not where I'm at with this. So again, please be interactive in the chat. I want to know your thoughts on these player rankings. And if you agree with me, help me, sway me, guide me as such. But yeah, big up to Meekin is in the house as well. I actually think Matty Cash needs to go down into show me more. I don't quite think he's not good enough. I actually want to give Matty Cash a little bit more of. I think he's for his standards. I think he's good for his standards. I think that when he has a bad day, it's really noticeable. When Matty Cash has a bad day, it is really, really noticeable. I think defensively, he's quite switched on when he wants to be, but when he's one-on-one, he can get done over. Sorry, let me put that the other way around. Defensively, not switched on. Attacking output, a little bit better. I think the right-hand side is really struggling. Big up to Jake as well. Farmy saying Cash is really good when he's awake, but as of late, he's been struggling. I think show me more is probably where I'm going to leave Matty Cash. I could probably put Matty Cash down to not good enough if I really, really wanted to be cynical. But I'm going to give him a bit of a fair shout that actually we have noticed without Cash of recent, we still haven't got that balance on the right-hand side. So, yeah, interesting. Big up to Brain as well. Hope you are well. So, yeah, I think we've got to put him in there. I think that's where we're going to have to put him. I think so. There we go. But yeah, big up to everyone in here tonight. Make sure you're smashing the like and, of course, get involved in the chat tonight with this debate, what we're going through. So the next one we're doing now, again, I actually think this is going to be a hard one to do. And maybe I shouldn't even be doing this player. Is Costa and Djokovic. I'm actually just going to leave him rank where I've got him in doing okay. We haven't seen enough of Costa. He's played enough minutes as such in the cups, such as the EFL Cup, Crystal Palace, Wickham. We've seen him at the start of the season. He came on in Arsenal. But really, predominantly, I think he's just doing okay. He's not done enough to impress me. And he's not exactly, I've not exactly fought with Costa every time he's played Show Me More. I just think he's doing the bare minimum, the okay of what we'd expect from him. So, listen, chat, that's sort of what I'm going to be doing with Costa. I think I'm going to leave him bang on that one and go from there. So moving on swiftly. Now this one's going to be interesting. Diego Carlos, people. Diego Carlos. Okay. Diego Carlos. Where and how and what and why and where are we putting Diego Carlos? It's hurting my brain a bit, if I'm honest, with Diego Carlos, because at some games he looks really assured, really confident. He really strong defensively. On the ball against really good teams, he looks on it. When we're playing the low opposition, he's always got a mistake in him. And I think that's something I'm probably asking of Diego Carlos is, we signed him with big hopes, big prospects, big prosperity. And still to this day, I don't know if Diego Carlos is doing enough to say to me that he is the first choice centre-half. I actually think he's really clearly the third choice centre-half, if not fourth behind Tyrone Mings, if Mings finds some form. And therefore, with me, if you're thinking that about Diego Carlos, who really, this should have been a season to kick on, I think Diego Carlos is in the show me more. I think he's still in the show me more. Show me more consistency. So number 4. I think he's shown me more, show me more consistency with the ball. Don't show us these laps of concentrations. And ultimately, really not good enough, is it, at times to show that. So that is where I'm going to put Diego Carlos. I actually am going to lock him in the show me more category. But yeah, big up to everyone in the chat. Make sure you have smashed that like button for me. I would really appreciate it. And do subscribe to the channel as well, as we are ranking every Aston Villa player. Performances so far this season, and always an interesting one. So Carlos sits at number 4, says Brainy agrees. Cool Boy says 4.5. Look, yeah, if I was going in between, it could be that as well. Interesting one. We should have kept Archer an extra option. He's doing all right. Old Cameron Archer. But yeah, we've got to lock that one in for sure. So Carlos can be both our best and worst defenders. Far too inconsistent. Hence why I've got him in that show me more category. So there we go. Right. Next one. I'm just going to put him there in the middle, and then we'll debate. Luca Dean. Now, I think Luca Dean definitely needs to be moving up from number 3. And I'm 100% convinced Luca Dean is in between this category, these two here, number 2 and number 1. I think Luca Dean, for me, I actually want to give him this one. And the reason why I want to give Luca Dean this ranking and rating is because I think that Luca Dean, for me, has basically shown everyone that he's kept Ian Matson on the bench. He's been very consistent at left back. His assists and stats have been excellent. He's bombed forward on that left-hand side. There was a world where I'd say that Luca Dean was leaving Aston Villa at one point, and now there's a world where Luca Dean seems undroppable. He's had a really good outing for France, 2 assists for the French national squad. He's got himself back in that fold. He's a mainstay in the French national team. I think he's been brilliant for Villa this season. I really do. And I actually think that, Luca Dean, for me, has been one of our best players. I do think he's been one of our best players. And I'm happy to say that I would like to put him in that number 1. Now, let me know. Brain is saying Luca Dean number 2. Interesting. And I think Cool Boys were saying this about Diego Carlos 4. Slow by his stand. But yeah, let me know what you rank Luca Dean. Tonight, because that would be very interesting, to say the least. I definitely think he belongs. Yeah, and big up to everyone who's watching. I do appreciate you out here supporting. Something different, as I said, international break, trying to get back in the swing of things. Okay, next one. Pau Torres. I think for me, Pau Torres sits exactly where I've put him, doing okay. Remember, these are rankings for Aston Villa, not as a whole Premier League players. Yeah, that is true. No, I do think Pau Torres sits exactly on number 3. He's doing okay this season. Nothing impressive, nothing immense, but also I wouldn't say that he needs to show me more. I think some people at times have criticised Pau. He had a period, or Spurs, to be fair. When we played Tottenham, he was the worst player on the pitch by a country mile, and that is true. Pau Torres was the worst player on the pitch by a country mile against Spurs. I think Pau Torres has just done okay this season. I really do. Big up to Lee Collerton, who's just finished a film. Big up to you. Jake said, Luca Dean, rating him at Everton. Don't think he's done it at Villa. This season has been a brilliant season for him. I cannot lie, especially the way he's kept, consistently providing those assists and providing the tap down the left-hand side. I've been really happy with Luca Dean this year, actually. But yeah, Pau Torres is going to sit number 3 for me. I think that I want Pau Torres. Now, listen, if Pau continues on the same vein of form and we're still sat here come the next international break, Pau Torres could find himself going down one. Genuinely, show me more. Especially if he's getting beat, in behind as easy as it is. Especially if his passing game is a little bit inconsistent and all over the place. But essentially, that is what we're doing. I'm putting him in there. And that's where I think it will be for me. Pau Torres, number 3. So, next one. Now, this one's going to be a hard one. Again, Mr. Ezri Costa. I think Ezri comes into here, impressed me. Why am I going to put Ezri into big up to Fraser Football? Big up to Ezri Costa. And the reason why, I think you can bully Pau. PS, even Clanster. Big up to you, Super Matty Taylor. Look, I think Pau's just going to get the doing okay for me right now. I think Pau's going to get the doing okay for me right now. And the reason why I'm saying that is because he is doing okay. But I tell you what, if he has more games like he had against Spurs, that guy's going down to show me more. Big up to Fraser Football, the Shorts King. I'm loving the content from Fraser again. He's back on it. Consta 2, yeah. So the reason why Ezri's sitting at number 2 is because of the following. He's had to go and do a job at right back. He's had to fill in at centre back. He's had to move around position on that pitch for Villa. And for me, I don't think he's ever really put a foot wrong. I don't think Ezri's ever really made a mistake. He's really consistent for me, Ezri Costa. Someone that a lot of people sleep on. A lot of people don't see his value. And for him to go and seamlessly play at right back, for him to seamlessly come in at centre half, I think he's a really valuable player for me. So I've been impressed with Ezri's commitment, his attitude, his performances. He's not been our best player, but he's impressed me. And the quicker we can get Ezri Costa settled into one position, the better for me. So, yeah. Get Emmy in the bin up the Villa. Big up Goals and Guna in the house as well. Good to see some familiar faces in there. Emmy should have his own category. Yeah, to be fair, God tier would be the good one. But yeah, some people might put Luca Dean down one. And as I said, it's for me, I think he has been one of our best players. So this next one's going to be really interesting. Okay. Ian Matson. Now, really hard to rate someone who potentially we have only seen in Champions League games and substitute appearances. I will be honest with you. I have enjoyed seeing Ian Matson play left wing more than left back at the moment. There should be a 6 in me. I have enjoyed Matson at higher up the pitch than at left back. So, I think it's hard to judge a player who's constantly been coming off the bench. He hasn't impressed me when he's come off the bench. And I haven't sat there going, Matson needs to do more. Basically, Ian Matson is just doing okay. Okay, that's what I'd say. Ian Matson is just doing okay for me. And again, I would say that, again, I would like to think come the next international break, if we were to reevaluate this tier list, okay, I would probably say that Ian Matson needs to be up. He needs to be higher. Ian Matson needs to be higher on this list. But yeah, hasn't shown enough for me. 3, yeah. Had a ad pop-up. Yeah, that's interesting, Lee, because I saw that as well on mine. Don't know what's happened there. Big up to Luca Torres Football as well. Look, next one's interesting. Again, probably someone we cannot rate. Probably someone we cannot rate at all. But it is going to be Tyrone Mings. What are we going to do with Tyrone Mings? What are we going to do with him? What are we going to do with him? Mingsy, right, let's go to it. He's had a start. He's had a start against Crystal Palace. He played in the Champions League as well. Dor says, get Mings out of the club. Always makes mistakes. That has never been due to fitness. It's due to lack of focus, poor touches that end up putting the opposition 1v1. Get gone. So he got dragged, didn't he, in the Champions League? And he got dragged and he didn't have a one so far. Now, if we were going on Mings so far this season, it's a hard one. It's a hard one. I think he's... Dor is basically suggesting he's number 5. Brain is saying Mings so far this season, number 5. Lee saying 5. Wow. Okay. Wow. When you love a player, but you know in your heart, we as a club have moved on. I think that Mings... I want to put him in 4, and I think that's because of love and loyalty. But I think he's getting there. Okay, I just got to pause the stream 1 second. Right, sorry about that. But yeah, I think Mings has got to be number 5. Not good enough. I do think that. Till we see the end of the season. But hey, who knows? He may move up. He may move up the rankings. But yeah, he literally showed. I think the most brutal thing is when Unai. Unai subbed him off. Unai subbed him off, didn't he? Pulled him. And that was a brutal thing. After his handball, I think that's the thing. His handball. That's not good enough. To put it like that, it's not good enough. However, let's put on record, Mings has had a small scope of games to be judged on. But the games that we've seen, I think he has looked rusty. He has looked jaded. His concentration levels are, to be questioned. But on the other hand, he has come back from a massive injury. It was never going to be easy. But if we're taking our heart out of it and our head, it's just not good enough right now from the performance when he's come back. So there we go. Okay, next one. I'm going to find this one hard as well. There's a few really hard ones here. John McGinn. Now, McGinn has come back off a really positive international break. In which he scored twice. I think McGinn is... It will. Look, Lee, actually, it will. I think John McGinn is just doing okay. I wouldn't say there's anything special about McGinn this season. I wouldn't say there's anything poor about him. The only thing I could say is maybe he's shown me more in terms of his numbers in front of goal. Now, McGinn isn't playing in that double pivot anymore. McGinn isn't someone who's going to be in that deep lying pivot. He's going to be playing high, either as a 10 or a left winger or a right winger. So McGinn needs to score or assist. It's no good having a player who's just going to run his head down and work hard. And again, people question John McGinn against Spurs. Sort of in that wing position, really let us down. And, he was poor against Spurs. It's a hard one. He's another sort of Mingsy type character. He's a lovable character. Everyone loves him when he's on it. He's the meatball head. He's come from absolutely nothing to being the captain in the Champions League. The real question has to be then, with McGinn, do we need more from him? Now, I think that would be a little bit harsh. Again, had a bit of an injury knock. I do love John McGinn. I think that he's a 2 or 3 right now, but I think I'm going to leave him at 3. I think he's doing okay. If he had maybe added the goals contribution that he has for Scotland, for Villa right now, then he would be exactly what captain. 2.5 for us, 1 for Scotland, exactly that. So that's where I am. McGinn, for me, he's in between 2 and a 3. But if I can't go in between, then it's... Are there loads of ads coming through in the stream? That shouldn't be happening. I don't know why. Let me just check something for you, chat. Let me just check something. Because we don't want that. We don't want it there. Should be okay. I've just checked something. But there we go. That's nuts. It shouldn't be ad central. So there we go. Right. Next one. I think this one's really easy for me. Yuri Tillemans. Yuri Tillemans. For me, there's only one. He's in between 2 or 1. I'm going to leave him in 2 at the moment. Has Yuri Tillemans been one of our best players? Has Yuri Tillemans been one of our best players? But yeah, apologies on those ad things. It shouldn't be. I think Tillemans is a 1.5 again. I think he's very. If I think about it now, Yuri has. I've waxed lyrical about Yuri Tillemans this season. I think he's controlled the midfield. I think he's been someone who's been excellent in possession. I think that he's been almost the first name on the team sheet in that midfield and reliable. And probably the other thing for me is with Yuri Tillemans, he hasn't had many injuries this season, or none at all. So he's been pretty consistent and fit. I actually think I might put him into 1. You know, I think Tillemans for me. I actually do think Yuri Tillemans has been one of our best players. I think these 3 here have been our best players. I think there's no doubt about it. I think Yuri Tillemans has been excellent. We've really relied on him. He's had to play a deeper role this season. Last season we saw him play closer to Watkins. This year it's the deeper role. So yeah, let's put Tillemans as a let's put Tillemans up there. I think actually, chat. We'll go with that one. We'll go with that. Okay. Next one then. This one's gonna be interesting. Ross Barkley. Again, Roscoe Barkley for me is going to be in an interesting category because another guy who again has had to come off the bench to make an impact, someone who's basically been asked to change a game sometimes or be reliable. But I actually think for me, people may disagree on this massively. Ross Barkley's been out injured, right? Ross Barkley's been out injured for the last 3 games. I think we've missed him. I'm actually going to put Ross Barkley as 2. I think Ross Barkley's impressed me. The reason why he's getting a number 2 is because I think he's done better than I expected. I think Ross Barkley's been a real good metronome in that holding midfield pivot. I think he's been someone who's been really, really progressive going forward. We've missed the ball carrier in Ross Barkley. And just go back to every Villa game this season. When Ross Barkley's come off the bench or when Ross Barkley's been involved, Villa have looked very, very good. He's found the answers. He's found the solutions. Scored, that important goal against Burnley. It's not Burnley, sorry. That important goal against Bournemouth at home. I know he went on to draw that game, but I just think he's been really consistent. I think he's been better than okay. I actually think when Ross Barkley's come on, I've been going, he needs to be starting. But for me, when I'm saying that about a player, when I'm going, whoa, why is Ross Barkley not starting games? I think that means he's impressed me. I'm not saying he hasn't done enough as a sub. I'm actually saying when Ross Barkley comes on, I'm going, he needs to be starting. So with that logic and mindset, I think he's impressed me massively. I wasn't sure on the signing at first. Obviously, he had a good season at Luton. I was like, he's not going to be a one-hit wonder, is he? But he's not. He's been very, very good. And he's found his old form. Next one's going to be interesting. Amadou Anana. By the way, I've got about 8 or 9 players left to do, so do stay tuned. Thank you for everyone engaging in this stream. Really appreciate all the comments flying in. Amadou Anana. Amadou Anana. Okay, now, this one's going to be a split one. I know it is. Some people outside of Villa do not rate Anana. Some people say he ain't the one. I'll be honest. At Everton, I did not rate Anana one bit. Didn't rate him. Did not rate him. I thought, oh, this is going to be an interesting one. What has Unai got his sleeves here? Anana, for me, I think Anana, for me, has games where he is the best player on the pitch and dominant. And then he has games where he doesn't assert himself at all. And he goes missing. He's got this weird hamstring issue at the moment, which cannot work out what is going on there. Is it cropped? We keep seeming to rotate and rush him around. But if I had to be real, I think Anana has scored some crucial goals for us. And when he is on it, I'm going to go back again. I talk about the Spurs game a lot because I think it was a key game for Villa. The way we got turned over there was really unacceptable. It was a tale of two halves. First half, Anana, best player on the pitch against Spurs. And he literally, for me, is a 2.5. I think his games where he's impressed me, and I've gone, that's my powerhouse, to then he's doing okay. I think Anana is a real interesting one. I do not think he's been our best player. I think he's impressed me more than what I would have thought. There are games where I felt underwhelmed. So if there was a 2.5 I'd put it in. However, I think because I had a bit of low expectation for him, this is my rationale for it. I had lower expectations on him than maybe others. I'm going to put him in a 2 because I had lower expectations of him. I had lower expectations of him, and he's done better than I thought. I really thought this guy could struggle at Villa. I didn't really know what position he was going to be. I didn't know how we were going to use him. But I think that's where I'm going to put him. Straight in there. Number 2. Okay. Next one. Kamara. Similar to Mings, hard to talk about a player who's just come back from injury. Hard to talk about a player who's had, a long time on the sidelines. Had an excellent game against Crystal Palace in the EFL Cup. Played in the Champions League and has had a few substitute appearances. With that in mind, I don't think he's been colossus. I don't think he's had a stinker. I think he's made some great interception tackles. I think his assist for the goal was excellent. I think Kamara, since coming back from injury, is exactly what he is on the screen. Doing okay. It's doing okay. I've not come back and go, wow, what a return from Kamara. We've really missed him. And he's in a position where it is really competitive with Tielemans, with Barkley, with Anana, with McGinn as such. Do you know what I mean? So Kamara is in a position that is fighting for. And I'm going to put him in as a number 3. I don't think there's too much more to say on Kamara. He hasn't played enough games for us to wax lyrical. Okay. Right. This one's going to be... Okay. Oh, wow. Doing okay. We don't want that. Right. Emi Buendia. If you know me, you know I'm not a big fan of this guy. And it's not doing okay. I think Emi Buendia, there's only one spot for Emi Buendia. Only one spot for Emi Buendia. And that's number 5, not good enough. Emi Buendia is not good enough to be in our Premier League team. He's not good enough to be in our Champions League team. He will never start a game. I keep telling people this. Tell me where a world in which Emi Buendia starts. Tell me a world where Emi Buendia starts for Aston Villa. There was the one game where he played and he got bullied off the ball. Oh, that was it. Well, it's both the Carabao Cup games. Against Wickham, a League One side, bullied. Physically bullied. But then obviously he goes and scores. So it sort of covers his performance up. Crystal Palace in the EFL Cup, he goes missing. When he comes on with about 4 or 5 minutes to go. And I'm just looking at Buendia and everything. It's just his physical stature. The role of a number 10 is different. He doesn't have the pace or drive. Yes, he might have the vision in the past, but ultimately, our number 10s for Aston Villa now are ball carriers. There are many people who can carry the ball. Buendia can't do that. I don't think he's been good enough. I don't think it's not good. I think there's, but I know it's saying James a bit harsh. Josh Buendia is a good player. We've just evolved beyond him at this point, but he's not good enough for Villa. This is about Aston Villa now. And this is about his performances right now this season. Buendia, in his limited game time, has been bullied, has gone missing, has not had an impact on the game. So, yeah, for me, Buendia sits happily in that 5. It's no dig. I wish him all the best. but it's not good enough. And if Mings is in there, I definitely think Buendia has to be in there. He's just, if anyone can tell me on the hand of heart that Buendia should be starting for Villa in either Champions League game or Premier League game, then he should be 3 or above. But he's not. No one thinks Buendia should be starting for the rest. Therefore, for me, it's just not. He's not good enough. Simple as that. Simple as that. Okay. Leon Bailey. Leon Bailey. Well, if this was this season, if this was this time last season, Bailey would be probably number 1. Leon Bailey now is bottom of the league. I can't tell if Bailey is a 4 and I need him to show me more, or actually it's getting to the point now that your performances are just not good enough. Because I actually think his performances are not good enough. I think his impact on a game is poor. Yeah, I heard Bailey was poor last night as well. Do you know what it is? People are going to say too much negativity on Bailey, but I'm going to be straight facts with you, right? Anyone who can tell me that his performance has been good enough this season, you're lying. It's not even show me more. It's just not good enough. Show me more is you've had 1 or 2 games where you've redeemed yourself, like Diego Carlos and Cash. Diego Carlos and Cash have had 1 or 2 games where I thought, you know what, you've done okay, but you need to show me more. Bailey was show me more, show me more, show me more. Wow, I'm getting frustrated with you now. Oh my God, why are you starting? Now you're not good enough. Your performances are not good enough. That's how I feel about Leon Bailey. That's how I've been rolling through the Bailey train right now. It's been, come on, Bailey. Come on, Bailey. Show me a bit more now. Show me more, Bailey. Right, Bailey. I've had enough now. Dusted. Not good enough. I'm putting him in. If you disagree, then let me know. But I think he's not impacting the game. I think that his contributions are only really show me more, like he does have. Josh, don't you think the change in the way we play has impacted players' games? Often isolated. We've had to attack down the left-hand side because our right-hand side is so gashed, James. I think Bailey's made that his own problem. The reason why Villa's attacks are down the left a lot at the moment is because of the lack of impact that Bailey's having on the right. If Bailey was on fire, if Bailey was doing his thing from last season, trust me, that ball would be coming out on the right-hand side so much more. But we're going through other players and other avenues because it's the players who are doing it. I just think when you see Bailey tripping over his own feet, when you see him not connecting with his shots properly, when you see him pondering on the ball, it's just not good enough. And that Liverpool game gets done on the halfway line, sleeping on Mo Salah, just not good enough. I'm sorry. Okay, next one. Jaden Philogene. Okay. Now, this guy. High hopes. High hopes. Tore it up for Hull City last season. Villa got rid of him. Went to Hull. We signed him back. Unai said, you're going to get chances of game time this season. The only game in where Jaden Philogene, for me, has had any talk of positivity was the Man United 0-0 game. And when you're talking positively about a player who played well in a 0-0 game against a dusty Manchester United team, you know got a problem. He got sent off. He just doesn't seem, for me, to be able to beat a man. Again, you might think I'm being really critical here. You might think that I'm absolutely going over the top cussing. But I think that if I'm talking about a winger and we're talking more about his defensive attributes, I'm going straight to there. And that's how I feel. Jaden has to show me a bit more now. He's in between doing okay. Like, he's done okay. But for me, we're talking about a winger. We're talking about a winger. And I don't want to be talking about a winger's defensive attributes, because I could be saying the same about Bailey, even though Bailey can't really defend well one-on-one. So, look, Jayden, for me, has got more potential in him. He's got more in his locker, and I need to see him more. I need to see more of Jayden Philogene. I need to see him be more direct. I need to see him want to take on defenders, and I need to see some contributions now. I need the same impact that Morgan Rogers, that Jacob Ramsey has. I need to see that same aura now from Jayden Philogene. And I don't want the excuse, yeah, but he's only just new to the club. Oh, but it's his first season and the big time. We're talking about Aston Villa. We're talking about a team who wants to get top 4. We're talking about a team who are competing in the Champions League. Jayden Philogene has to be showing me more now in the attacking area. So, yeah, interesting. A lot of you went frees. Captain went 3.5. Lee free. Brain free. My dad said free. Yeah, I can see why people put him as free. But I'm going to ask more questions of Jayden, that I don't want him to just become someone who's not really impacting on a game. So there we go. Bootleg says, Carlos, big game player, but thinks those Ipswich games are below him. Would I let him go for him to bring someone in? Yeah. Interesting. You wouldn't get rid of him. Interesting. Big up to you. Make sure you smash the like button, guys, if you haven't done so. We've got 4 Villa players to rank the attackers now. This is going to be interesting. Jacob Ramsey. JJ, one of our own. When he plays, he's freaking awesome. But the issue is he gets injured a lot. The issue is that he doesn't know how to avoid these big injuries. And I'm really stuck with Jacob Ramsey. I'm really stuck because when he plays and he grows into the game of Morgan Rogers, he's brilliant. He's brilliant. Has he impressed me? Has Jacob Ramsey impressed me this season? At times. Do I need more from Jacob Ramsey? I think he's doing more than the Philogenes of this world. He's definitely doing more than Bailey. Do I think he's contributing in the way in which I want Aston Villa to play? Could he give me more goals and assists? Of course, always. We could always ask that of attackers. I can't seem to put him higher than a 3. So he's definitely, for me, not a 2 to impress. I don't think I've been impressed. I think that if he avoided injuries, I think if he cemented his place in the first team, I think he would definitely be in that number 1 category. I think when fit, he could be in a number 2. I think I'm going to lock him in as a 3. I don't quite think he's going to show me more. He's just doing okay. Which is interesting. JJ needs to get fit. He needs to get strong. He needs another run of games. He needs to be cementing himself as one of the first names on the team sheet. He should be locking down that left-hand side. It should be Ramsey left, Rogers 10, and whoever wants the right-hand side spot. That's how it should be. But it doesn't seem to be that way of Jacob Ramsey. Doesn't quite seem to absolutely 100% lock down the left. Sometimes John McGinn could be favoured to start over Jacob Ramsey on the left. That's an issue. If John McGinn's being asked to start over him, that means he's not quite impressed me. So he's definitely a 3 with that logic. Okay. Morgan. Guten Morgen. I think there's only one direction for Morgan on this. And I think Morgan Rogers has he been one of our best players? Or has he just impressed me? So, positives about Morgan Rogers. Let's read it out. Morgan Rogers, ball carrying skills, incredible. Strong, hard to knock off. The metronome of Aston Villa. Someone who really, if he doesn't play, we need him. And that gap is missing. So I've talked myself into him being one of our best players. Without Morgan Rogers, our attack looks weak and frail. It doesn't look like it has the dynamic it should. When he's injured or he gets subbed off, we look weaker. ball carrier there. However, to put balance to perspective, Morgan Rogers, final third, finishing, lets him down. Final third, in terms of decision making and passing, can let him down. Morgan, he's a 1 for me. I think he's been one of our best players. I think 1.5 is exactly again with captain. I think that if he could tidy up his final third play in front of goal, I think if Morgan Rogers can tidy up his finishing, then all of a sudden we are looking at an incredible all-round package. But because we can't put a 1.5, I am going to notch him up. I'm rounding him up to the 1. I think he's been one of our best players. And the reason why I say that is when Morgan Rogers doesn't play, our attack is not the same. I just feel like that. I feel like there's a real metronome in that 10 role in Morgan Rogers. Okay. Next one. John J Duran. JD. Okay, well, again, Duran is a really interesting one for me because I think he's better than doing okay. So first of all, let's just notch him up right away. He's better than doing okay. John Duran has impressed all of us. We did not expect the John Duran impact that he had. We did not expect him to be this guy who would come off the bench, score goals, big goals, important goals, and save our asses at times. And the reason why we've probably also been blown away is because we thought he was going to leave in the summer, going to West Ham. But he didn't. He stayed at Villa, he scored goals, and he silenced everyone. However, take away his goals, his all-round gameplay isn't exactly wow. Still has a lot to learn. Still needs to hold the ball up better. Still needs to link up with his teammates in Ramsey and Rogers. Cleaner, more succinct. And furthermore, when he started, which he has had starts, he hasn't exactly dazzled. And therefore, I would say that John Duran isn't necessarily being our best player. He's had big moments for us, key moments for us. But I think he's impressed me. And I think 2 is exactly where it should be. Big up James in the house. Captain saying 2. Lee saying Duran 1. Duran has to be a 2, but slips to 3 when he feels like it. Cool Boys is saying he needs better service. I agree on that. But I think that really, in retrospect of Duran, he's not been our best player or best players. Because I think that Emmy, Luca, Yuri, and Morgan do it week in, week out. I think John Duran has scored at key moments. But of late, where the goals have dried up, ask yourself this with John Duran. What's his overall performance been like? That's a JD. 1. He's delivered virtually every time he's been asked to. Must be challenging Ollie Watkins to start a place. Only his volatile attitude could let him down. And that's the thing, that it is a big debate in the fan base. Should John Duran be starting for Villa? And therefore, does that make him one of our best players? I think, though, for me, I still can't find the justification to put JD there. I can't. I don't know why. There's something telling me that JD is not quite our best player tier. I think he's impressed me. Now, some of you may disagree, as you have in the chat, but personally for me, JD, and I agree, Cool Boys. The moment against Bayern, no other player for Villa would do that. Yeah, that's where I'm going. I'm locking him in. Now, the final player. The rest of these players below the screen we're not doing because they're either on loan or they just have not played enough. Ollie Watkins. Mr. Ollie Watkins. Where are we putting Ollie Watkins? So, Watkins. such high standards because of last season. Similar to Leon Bailey, both our best players, Watkins and Bailey, 100%. Watkins has not had a Bailey type season. Watkins has still had a better contribution than most. And I think that Watkins is not a 4, definitely not a 5. And this is where it gets interesting. Has Ollie still impressed enough? Has he still made an impact in the game with the rise of J Duran? Is he still been one of our best players this season? So let's work down. I don't think he's been one of our best players this season. And I'm a big Ollie Watkins fan. I love Ollie Watkins. And I don't think he's been our best player. I don't think he's been in that category. So he's coming down one. Ollie always impresses me, but he frustrates me as well. He frustrates me with his finishing. He has missed key chances for Villa this season. You go right to the first game of the season against Arsenal. Should have beaten Arsenal. Missed 2 sitters. Heartbreaking. He's also missed chances against Spurs. He's had the one in the Champions League, which he should have scored. I can't think it was against. He's had a couple others. But he is one of our best players. But has he been our best player this season on the form that he's shown? And that's the question I'm asking. Is he doing okay? You could easily say Watkins is doing okay this season. But I think in retrospect of having back-to-back seasons, consistently still catching England's setups eyes, consistently causing defenses problems, and I always say this about Watkins: if he's in the right place and at the right time, it's a good player. There's a skill, there's an art when Ollie Watkins can find himself to be in the right place at the right time. It's just, as some people say, Ollie will need 2 or 3 chances to score. And that's a critique of what you wouldn't have with J Duran. So, Ollie Watkins, for me, I think he's a 2. I do agree with Brain. He is one of our best players. However, I'm holding Watkins to those massive high standards of Emi Martinez. So I would look at Emi Martinez. I would look at Watkins. They are 2 best players. Absolutely. Emi Martinez and Watkins are definitely our 2 best players. And I'd even probably put Ezri Costa as the 3rd best. If I had to go in the 3 best players that Villa have, Martinez, Costa, Watkins, 100% for me. Yeah, Ezri hasn't been our best player this season. He's just impressed. Ollie Watkins, for me, hasn't been one of our best players. He's just impressed. But those 2 are our best players, if that makes sense. And so, in that reason alone, I think that we put Watkins second. That's where I'm going with him. Now, some of you got him 1, some of you got him 3, but I want to lock him in 2. I'm going to give Ollie the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to put him in there. So, chat, that locks in our ranking of every Aston Villa player this season. Exactly that, cool boys. That will help him massively. So, as you can see, we've got a lot of players. If you look at the starters in there, Bailey's a regular starter in at 5. Diego Carlos and Cash, you could argue, are in and out starters. But then they're doing okay. Your Ramsey's, your Kamara's, your McGinn's, your Matson's, your Pau Torres is doing all okay. And there's been a few players in there, your Anana's, your Durans, your Watkins, Costa, Bartley, who have impressed. But I think that our best players, Emi, Luca, Yuri, and Morgan. And I would not disagree with that this season. So far, 11 games in, that's who's probably been our best players. The big question is, how will this list look at the end of the season? Will the players be relegated? Will players move up? We'll definitely have to revisit this and see how it ends up. So there we go. I'm happy with that, actually. I am happy with that. So thank you to everyone who has tuned in tonight. It's been a bit of a different one, as I said. Bored stiff of international football. I cannot wait for Villa to return. We obviously are playing Crystal Palace this Saturday. It's a 3 o'clocker. It's something that should be good. We need to win. So make sure you're tuned in for that one. But yeah, thank you to everyone who's been in, all your contributions. Cool Boys, Brain, Lee, Bootleg, my dad, James is in the house, of course, as well. Captain, appreciate it. Thank you to all of you guys and everyone else who's been in and around in the comments today. Really do appreciate it. Well, to be different, take a pet and competitive, yeah, exactly that. And if we don't beat Crystal Palace, then there's problems because we definitely owe them, Brain. We definitely owe them after beating us in the Carabao Cup. So yeah, the watch along will be on Saturday, 3:00. Haven't decided yet which platform we're going to be doing it on, so I will let you guys know. But yeah, just make sure you've dropped a like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you got notification bell turned on, and let's get ready for Villa to return this Saturday. Big up to everyone. I'll see you all very soon. I'm out of here. Ta-da.